Hello and welcome to Own Your Retirement. My name is Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 586-752-7008 or visit us online at kaizenfinancialgroup.com. Again, that's Kaizen, Kaizen. And while at my website, click on the podcast page and check out our past shows and also to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Okay, so June 15th coming up is National Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and it's designed to fuel conversations about how older people can protect themselves and how younger people can protect the older people they care about. Now, elder abuse encompasses many things, including physical abuse, emotional and psychological abuse, neglect, abandonment, and financial abuse. So, during today's show, we're going to first discuss how elder abuse can be prevented before pivoting into a conversation about some of the biggest financial scams that are currently targeting older people. But before we get into our timely and important topic, let me introduce my co-host, Tony Shore. How are we doing, my friend?
I am doing so good, Albert. Great to be here with you today on the Own Your Retirement podcast. We're going to have a
Yes.
good discussion. This is good. Um, it's a serious topic and it's a
Mhm.
good discussion. And I'll tell you what, it's one of the things that really upsets me.
Yes.
And I get very adamant about this because this has happened to my mother-in-law, to my own
Mhm.
parents, and I think it is the most despicable thing, one of them, it's up there, to prey on the elderly
Yeah.
and take advantage of seniors and the elderly, who, as we get older, we get less, we don't we don't do as well with technology and other things,
Right.
and people take advantage of that, and I think that is, I just it drives me nuts, and I cannot believe people out there, they must have no conscience. I don't know how these people sleep at night, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's been a big topic for us. Something that I touched on. I would say beginning of the year on more emphasis on this. We call it elephant in the room.
Yeah,
Having a discussion with my clients about elder abuse, their parents as well as themselves, how to protect themselves, and then we've been taking steps this year with a lot of education, lunch and wisdoms on this topic with people from the outside coming in to help protect all of our clients. So I think this is a very good topic. I myself have experienced a lot of this with my clients, seeing them get taken advantage of. And this is why I think we need to really bring this topic out, especially here in June for the national awareness. And
yeah.
so we're going to begin here with the Kiplinger article titled Seven Ways to Protect Older Adults from Financial Abuse. Now, we all become more vulnerable to scams and financial abuse as we get older. And some alarming statistics from this article. Number one, older people are swindled out of more than $3 billion each year, Tony. That's ridiculous. And then more than 3.5 million older adults are victims of financial exploitation each year. And then lastly, older people targeted by fraudsters suffer an average loss of $34,200.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's $3 billion a
I know.
year.
I know.
Older Americans are scammed out of that much money every year, and that's a shocking number. I mean, so what advice do you have for our listeners out there about protecting ourselves or our loved ones and friends from these types of things?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Let's focus on protecting the people you love as they age. Now, I know it's not always easy to bring up things like scams or financial abuse, especially when it involves family or caregivers. But the truth is, the best defense is a good conversation. Just getting it out in the open can make a huge difference. Like I said, the elephant in the room. You
Right.
don't need to be a financial expert as well to start. You just need to care enough to flag. And what I mean
Mm.
by that is use a story from the news, share something you've seen maybe firsthand, or because the moment we start talking about it, we shine a light on it, we make it that much harder for the bad actors to slip through the cracks. And you know what? If you want a real edge, bring in a trusted financial services professional. These folks are often on the front lines. They've seen what works, what doesn't, and what's new. And then they can help you spot the red flags before the damage is done. And they've got tools and strategies to make sure your loved ones aren't just protected, but are also empowered.
Yeah, and I like the idea of an older person not, only having family members they can rely on, but having their own financial professional, because that's something you can provide. You've seen all of this, and it
Yeah.
seems to me the bigger your team, the better your protection, right?
You're right, right. And when you have money talks, it should be a family tradition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
While I encourage my clients to meet with me regularly, I also urge them to have real, honest conversations about money with the people you care about. It's not always easy, I know, but these talks can feel awkward or emotional, but man, they can also be life changing. Open dialogue is one of the best early warning systems out there. And when you're communicating clearly and consistently, it's easier to spot when something feels off, whether it's a suspicious charge, a too good to be true investment pitch, or someone suddenly stepping in with a little too much control. Now, this isn't about prying or micromanaging people as well. It's about protecting. It's about creating a culture where trust, safety, and shared wisdoms are the norm, not the exception. And if you're not sure how to start the conversation, bring your financial services professional into the loop. They've seen it all, and they can help you frame the conversation, ask the right questions, and set up a guardrails that, well, protects your whole family.
All right. So, what actual formal steps can a person take to better protect themselves and their assets?
All right. Well, let's talk about something that isn't always fun, but is absolutely necessary. Getting your financial house in order for the road ahead. Setting up a durable power of attorney and putting your estate plan in place are two of the most powerful steps you can take. Now, I know those phrases sound heavy, but what they really boil down to is peace of mind. A
Mhm.
durable power of attorney, or a POA for short, is someone you trust to make financial decisions for you if something unexpected happens. Now, this isn't just about paperwork, it's about choosing someone who truly has your back. And
Right.
that's why I always recommend sitting down with your financial professional or maybe an elder law attorney to make sure the person you choose is the right fit and is aligned with your values. If you're, let's say, aging solo and well, you're not out of options. A good attorney can often serve as that role as well. Now, let's talk about legacy planning. This isn't just for the ultra wealthy or people with sprawling empires. It's for anyone who wants their wishes honored, their loved ones taken care of, and their legacy protected. Now, whether it's drafting a will, setting up a trust, or maybe even updating a plan you put together years ago, this is about creating clarity instead of confusion down the line, especially to your family and loved ones. And then here's the real beauty: a solid estate plan doesn't just protect what you've built, it sets the stage to pass the value on to the next generation with purpose and intention. These conversations don't have to be scary, folks, when you've got the right professionals in your corner.
Yeah, and I know people don't like to talk about these things, but you have to. You have to have open communication. That's really going to go a long way. I would agree with that. In fact, speaking of communication, Albert, talking with a financial services professional like yourself, a wealth advisor, is so important. And you know about all of these things, and getting a financial plan in place. If our listeners have questions or want to do that or want to get that second opinion, how can they set up that no charge, no obligation consultation with you and your team there?
Yes, folks, visit my website at kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen, or call my office at 586-752-7008 and discuss how we can answer your questions and address your concerns about protecting yourself and your finances, your financial strategy, or any other parts of your retirement.
Exactly. And I think that's fantastic. And you noted that June 15th is Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And I think it's so important to shed light on this problem. It should be a whole month. It should be at least the entire month of June.
I agree.
But you talked about some steps people can take to better protect themselves and their assets from financial elder abuse. What's next?
Well, let's stay with the Kiplinger article, 7 Ways to Protect Older Adults from Financial Abuse. We've got some more details that I'd like to share, including the importance of regularly monitoring your financial accounts. You know, in my experience, the best way to fight financial fraud is to spot it early, and that starts with the regular rhythm of reviews. Now, taking just a little time each month to go over your financial statements, bank accounts, and investment accounts can be a powerful move. And it's not about micromanaging every dollar, it's about catching anything that just doesn't look right before it turns into maybe something bigger. Now, there are also a few simple tech savvy moves you can make to stay ahead of the curve. One, send unknown callers straight to voicemail so you can hear
Mhm.
what they're saying. Two, freeze your credit if you're not applying for new lines. And then three, tighten up privacy settings on your social media networks. If you haven't already done so, also sign up for account alerts and credit monitoring. Those little notifications can make an enormous difference when it comes to quickly catching fraud. Now, if you're helping, let's say, aging parents or loved ones manage their money, you might consider giving a trusted family member viewing access to their accounts for an extra layer of support. The right help at the right time can keep things safe, simple, and stress free. So, the bottom line is that financial abuse thrives in silence and delay. But when you stay alert, stay connected, and also stay involved, you're not just managing money, you're actually protecting futures.
Yeah, and you touched on a couple of things there I wanna, make note of and make sure our listeners are getting this. First of all, if you're listening out there, especially if you're a senior, but for all of us, if you get an unknown call, don't take it.
Yes.
And if somebody calls you and says they're from the IRS, if they
Yes.
say they're from Social Security, if they say they're from Publishers Clearinghouse, if they say they're from Microsoft, hang up immediately because none of those places will ever call. Those are common scams, and the
Yes.
IRS will not call you on the phone. The
Correct.
Social Security Administration will never, ever call you or leave a text message. And it's the same with Microsoft, and it's
Yes.
the same with Publishers Clearinghouse. These are some common scams that are out there right now.
Right.
And just don't take any calls. And if they leave you a number, don't call that number back. Look
Nope.
it up online or have have if you're elderly, maybe have your kids or somebody, a friend, help you look it up, the actual number for Social Security or an actual number for whoever's calling. But remember, Amazon, Microsoft, none of these companies will ever call you. These sweepstake companies, they're not going to call you on the phone. That's not.
Right.
I almost fell for a Publishers Clearinghouse scam. It sounded so legit. They left me a voicemail, and I looked up on their on the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes website. They
Okay.
actually have a section of frauds that yes, people use us. We will never contact you. We send somebody to your door. It's always a
Yep.
delivery person or employee who will come, even if you're not the grand prize winner. If you're one of they give away a bunch of prizes.
Right.
Will never contact you by phone, and just ignore unknown texts and emails, even if they
Mhm.
sound like they know you. Just ignore it. If it's important, they'll leave a message, and you can analyze it. And if you're not sure, ask somebody. Don't be embarrassed by
Yes.
it.
Big
But
time.
yeah, and check your, like you said, check your financial statements on a regular basis. I'm
Yes.
glad you brought that up.
I mean,
That's
this is why
huge.
we have what's called generational vault for my clients,
Yep.
because all their accounts can be in one place so they can see everything and anything that's off. So it's
Yep.
very important.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is guarding your personal information.
Yep.
That's big. In our increasingly digital world, the risk of fraud isn't just a maybe now. It's a matter of when, unless you're actively taking steps to protect yourself. And the good news is that most of those steps are easier than you think.
Yeah.
So let's start with passwords. That's the big one. I know nobody loves managing passwords, having to remake new ones and things like that. But using strong, unique ones for each account is one of the simplest, smartest thing you can do. And if remembering them feels impossible, well, use a password manager. Tools like LastPass can generate and store them for you safely and securely. Set it and forget it. Now, offline, the same logic applies. Keep important documents in a safe place. Shred anything with sensitive information before tossing it away. And if someone's asking for your personal info and your gut says, "What? This feels off," trust that instinct. Now, these may sound like small moves, but man, they add up. You're not just protecting data, you're protecting your time, your finances, and most importantly, your peace of mind.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. You want to be able to, your peace of mind is huge. And
Mhm.
I follow the financial news diligently, and I can attest that there are so many financial scams out there. It's hard to keep track. But maybe you could give us a breakdown of how you can help protect people and their finances from elder abuse and help them ensure their assets go to their chosen heirs after they pass. That's another important aspect to this.
Yes. In fact, a financial service professional plays a crucial role in helping people, especially older adults, protect themselves from financial exploitation while ensuring that their legacy is preserved for the next generation. So, elder financial abuse can come in many forms. From scams and fraudulent investment schemes to undue influence by family members or caregivers. So, a trusted financial service professional acts as a frontline defense by helping clients monitor accounts for suspicious activity. So, set up fraud alerts and maintain strong privacy controls. One of the most valuable tools a financial services professional can offer is, well, education. They can guide clients on best practices for safeguarding sensitive information, explain common red flags, and encourage regular reviews of financial statements. Now,
Mhm.
for people who may be aging alone or maybe even experiencing cognitive decline, a financial service professional can also help coordinate with attorneys to establish protections like, let's say, durable powers of attorneys, trusted contact designations, and account view only access for, let's say, a loved one or even a fiduciary. And then, equally important is helping clients build a strong legacy plan. A financial services professional works alongside estate attorneys to ensure that the wills, trusts, and beneficiary designations are up to date and reflect the client's wishes and values. Now, this can prevent future disputes, ensure smooth transfer of assets, and more importantly, minimize the risk of outside interference. Beyond the technical side of planning, financial service professional also provides something just as valuable, a long-term relationship built on trust. By staying actively involved in a client's life and financial goals, a financial service professional can often detect early warning signs of abuse or manipulation that others might miss. And then they can act as a sounding board for financial decisions. That's the big one. A second set of eyes on questionable requests and a consistent voice of reason when emotions run high.
Yeah.
Ultimately, a financial service professional serves more than just a money manager. They're a partner in long term planning, personal protection, and legacy building. By fostering open conversations, coordinating with legal professionals, and proactively setting up safeguards, they empower clients to live with peace of mind and pass on their wealth with more clarity and confidence.
Well, and on that note, I think it's been a great show today. You need to make folks aware of what's going on out there. Keep track of your finances to make sure there's no fraud. Look at those statements and just watch out for emails, texts, and phone calls. If you don't understand it or don't know who it's from, ignore it. I mean,
Correct.
it may be hard for some people to ignore those things, but
Yeah.
you have to refrain from getting involved or responding because unless you're sure you know the person, and nowadays you have to be really, really sure,
Yes.
and you might want to not contact them through the method they contacted you. If it's somebody you think you know, pick up the phone and call them at the number you have for them, not
Right.
not through the text, email, or call that they made to you. So,
And
um,
and and the big point you made earlier, don't be embarrassed about anything if you get yourself in a situation. You're always better off to let someone else know what's happening so they can assist you. That's the one of the biggest problems that I've seen is that most folks, when something like this happens, they're so embarrassed about it that they don't want to tell anybody, and that is wrong.
yeah,
Share it so that others can look at it and see if this is right or if something that's a scam.
well put. And Albert, great show today. Such an important topic. I'm glad we're shedding some light on this one. I'm glad you brought this information to our listeners' attention. Now, before we go, if somebody out there has a question about their finances, they want to get a second opinion or figure out where they're at, or especially if they want to find out how much am I going to need to retire or am I ready to retire? Do
Yes.
they have a retirement income plan? You can help set all that up. All
Yes.
they have to do is give you a call and schedule that no charge, no obligation consultation. Albert, how can our listeners and viewers get a hold of you to do that?
Yes, folks, call my office 586-752-7008 or visit my website at kaizenfinancialgroup.com. Kaizen, Kaizen. There we can discuss, answer your questions, address your concerns, protect yourself and your finances. Remember, it's our goal to help you prepare for the retirement that you work so hard for so you can own your retirement.
All right. Sounds great. Albert, great show today.
Yes.
Listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody.